Hi there guys, Ken here, your thrifty apprentice, and welcome back to another thrifty review. Today we are going to be taking a look at a new to me paint and art company. This is Artwell. This is their Artist Watercolor 24 color tube set. I originally became interested in these paints watching a review by the Frugal Crafter on YouTube, which made me go search them out on Amazon, and I saw that they were listed with the professional paints, which I thought was really, odd, because it doesn't look like a professional packaging at all in any way, but it does state that they're artist watercolor. So let's just kind of jump into this, and I'll tell you the things that I've discovered about the paints. So it comes in this, kind of basic kid looking box. It wasn't really much to it. It's wrapped in plastic when you get it, and I ordered mine from Amazon. And as you see, it's just got some really basic artwork on the front. If you flip the box over on the back, it says Artist Watercolor, 24 colors and tubes. It's going to give you a color swatching. It's going to give you color numbers or stock numbers with the color name and the permanency or the transparency. I'm sorry, the permanency or the lightfast, and then of course the transparency rating as well. There's a key at the bottom for that, and it just has a little Artwell logo in the corner. Now I did notice from the packaging that most of the paints are in the 2 to 3 star lightfast range. Most of the paints are considered completely transparent, a few semi-opaque, and one opaque color, which they have listed here is the light oxide red. So I decided that I'd go to the website, and I did a little research to find out exactly what their star rating meant. So it did say that 2 to 3, all of the colors have 2 to 3 stars out of a 3-star rating system. It said that 2 stars are ranked even higher than 3 because they are guaranteed on brightness for your artwork, and they're guaranteed to last more than half a century. And then the 3 stars stand for 15 to 50 years. So according to them, and that's depending on how much validity you put into the fact that they are a pretty new company. They're not a legacy company. Most of the paints in this particular set are pretty light fast, guaranteed to last anywhere from 15 years up to half a century. So that's a pretty bold statement. On the side of the box, there is just a SKU number. It says Artwell, please visit. It gives a website. It lets you know that the paints are manufactured in the People's Republic of China. They're not suitable for children under 3 years of age. They are non-toxic, and they do conform to the ASTM D4236 regulation. The other side is just pretty much the same information that's listed on the top of the box. And that's pretty much the packaging. Nothing with any bells or whistles on it at all. So let's take a look on the inside of the box here. You have 24 tubes. Now, the first thing I noticed about the tubes was the labeling. The labeling is not the best, although it's artistic and pretty. As you can see, the labels do not really lay down. It's like the glue. It's not enough glue or something. I mean, now you can press it down and they'll stick. But the truth of the matter is I've done that pretty much every single time I open the package, and they still end up coming up. So that was the first thing I noticed. Now the tubes are metal. I do believe that is a metal tube. Pretty generic wrapping and labeling. It says Artwell. It gives you the name and then of course the color number. Artist Watercolor, Artwell, 15 milliliter tubes, or 0.5 US fluid ounces. So these are pretty big tubes of paints, and it's 24 of them. So right off the bat, that was a good quality that I felt about the paints. If you flip it over to the back, again, it gives you the stock number, the color name, in this particular case, Payne's Gray. It lets you know the pigment number, the permanency or the light fast, whichever you want to call it, the transparency. And then again, it tells you the weight, which is 15 milliliters. Non-toxic, conforms to the ASTM 4236 regulation. And again, manufactured in the People's Republic of China. So basically repeating the same information on the tube that's somehow or another found on the box, which is pretty standard. First things first, the consistency of the paints in the tube was pretty solid. Now, I did shake the tubes before I panned, because I did pan each one of my colors and let them dry down so that I can paint with them from dry form when I got ready to do the field testing and the painting. They have screw-off caps here, excuse me. And there was not any foil covering or anything that I had to do to puncture in order to get to the paints. As you can see, the head or the nose is pretty wide. It's really easy to get the paint out. The tubes are pretty easy to squeeze, so I don't think you'll have any problems with that. And that's pretty much the packaging and the tube straightforward. Again, 24 different colors. And we are going to get into looking at the quality and the performance of those. So I'm going to package this up, and then I'm going to show you guys how I told you I dried mine down. So the packaging comes with a little swatch sheet on the inside. Pretty much the same information that we've been covering is listed on the front of the swatch sheet. And when you open it up, it does give you space to swatch out your paints directly beside the information for quick referencing when you're painting. Yeah, so that was pretty handy. This is I want to say this is a watercolor paper. I do believe it's like 140 pounds cold press. It really, I mean, you know, just from the swatches, it kind of performed like that. I mean, it says use this paper palette to make your own watercolor chart. Dip your brush into clean water, load your brush with one color, and paint next to its color name. So it's basically giving you step-by-step instructions on how to swatch. Clean your brush and repeat this step for each watercolor tube. You will see how the watercolor looks like. You will see how the watercolor looks like, I read that right, on paper in comparison with how it looks like dry in its tube. So, yeah. Join our socials to get helpful tips to improve your painting skills. And then it gives you all of the logos for the particular social media platforms that you can find a page for them on. As I stated earlier, they do have a website, and that's art-well.com. And they are an entire art supply company. I mean, they supply pretty much everything, and the site is really vibrant and bright and inviting. Really easy to navigate around. They give you really detailed information on the site about a lot of the different products that they offer. So although they are a new company, I believe that in comparison to other new art labels out there that are selling budget paints, they do offer more information towards the quality of the products that they sell than most that budget companies that I've encountered. So with that said, I put all of the paints into a tube, and out of the tube into full pans, and I let them dry down. This is just a my Art 2 palette that I ordered off of Amazon. Ordered some empty full pans because I wanted to have something big enough to dip some bigger brushes in while I was field testing these, because I was kind of excited about using them. So up until that point, or up until this point, everything was going good in my opinion. And then the paints dried down, and immediately the majority of them cracked, which kind of disappointed me, because I'm thinking to myself, okay, now I'm starting to believe that these definitely aren't an artist watercolor, and they probably have fillers in them. That was my initial thought once I saw how the paints dried down. But of course, the little swatch sheet that I did and watching the paints dry down was not real indication of how the paints were going to perform. So the next thing I did was to go ahead and swatch the paints out for my swatch book, like I normally do with all the brands that I'm testing. And here is that swatch sheet. Let's see if I can move this stool back a little bit, because I'm making a lot of noise here. I'm just going to stand up. So pretty paints. Pretty paints. The swatching came out really nice. These paints, just like indicated on the site, are really bright and vibrant. And you know, they attribute that to the fact that the pigments are really finely ground in these paints, and that the high quality pigments guarantee like a real deep saturation in color. And it did not disappoint. As you can see, the first layer was a really big watery layer or swatch, because I really wanted to see if any of the paints were going to granulate. for the most part, there isn't much granulation in the paint. Something else that, and that doesn't really depict whether they're artist or student, because a lot of artist paints are finely ground and don't do a lot of granulating or give a lot of granulation. The Ultramarine Blue, or the Ultramarine Deep in this case, has a little granulation to it, which can be expected because most ultramarines do granulate. And then the Cobalt Blue here has a little granulation in it due to the fact that it's a mixture of the ultramarine, which is PB29, and a white, which is PW6. If I'm not mistaken, it's Chinese white. If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong, but I don't think I believe it's Chinese white. Pretty a nice array of colors here. You got some really nice yellow tones. They give you at least 4 of each. Some pretty earthy greens. The sap green to me was probably the prettiest color in the entire set. I really loved painting with the sap green here. As you can see, I've really used it. And of all of the paint sets that I've had, that's probably the prettiest sap green I've seen. The olive green is really nice. They have some really nice earth tones. So although the paints did crack, once I start swatching them, my spirits lifted more about them again, because I felt like, okay, I'm probably going to enjoy painting with these. I did a second layer glazing just to see how opaque I could get the paints on the swatch sheet. And as you layer them, they do tend to, you know, get a little deeper in saturation with the color, and they will become more opaque as you layer them up, but not too bad at all, because the transparency is pretty good on most of these. So the next thing I did was to do a salt test, and I want to do a lift test, and you guys know I always do a lift test with you. So I'm gonna grab my scrubber brush really quickly and get it wet. And I'm sorry if my voice is modulating. It's because at the beginning of the video I was sitting down, and now I'm actually standing up, so I may sound a little louder. If I do, please forgive me. I don't mean to at all. I need to grab a paper towel. I always forget a paper towel. I grabbed a paper towel, and I did go ahead and clean my scrubber brush. So we're just gonna give a little scrub here. And then I will just kind of block with a paper towel. And as you can see, the colors will lift. Pretty much all of the colors will lift. Just to get back to the white of the paper there. The salt test was pretty reactive. They seem to act well. You can get some really good textured effect with salt for sand and textures on rocks and mountains and in your landscape painting. So I felt like that was a pretty big plus. Next, I wanted to really take a look at the transparency myself. So I actually swatched each one of the colors out on top of a permanent marker. And as you can see, those are pretty transparent. They really, really are. The only one you tend to get some sedimentation on the black line with is, I want to say that is the yellow ochre. The yellow ochre, you get a little, and then you also get a little from the oxide, just a little bit. But for the most part, all of them are really transparent. So for all intents and purposes, swatched well, really bright, pretty, saturated colors. They lift well, they react well to salt. They're pretty transparent, not really opaque, so they're going to be really good for layering. I was really impressed with the paints up until this point, but hey, you know, we got to paint with them right. We have to paint with them in order to see what we really think. So let me show you guys some of the things I've done with the paints. And I've kind of been painting with these paints for a while because I wanted to really get a grasp on, I'm trying to find, I got them here somewhere. Okay, so this is one of the pieces I did, and this is actually up on the channel. I do believe this is up on the channel last Sunday. Most of them that I show you are up on the channel if you want to go back and look at the painting demo. So here I was just doing some aloe vera, just painting a really quick watercolor card. I do these hand-painted watercolor cards and package them up because I am going to start selling them on Etsy. First, I want to see if some of my artwork will sell, and secondly, I need to start supplementing some of the products that I'm constantly buying. So I thought it came out really nice. The paints layered really well. Here, I really just use like sap green and I want to say the oxide medium yellow, and I may have used a little ultramarine blue. Yeah, so it was just like 3 colors used in that painting. I also did a sunflower. I did a sunflower in honor of Ukraine. One of the watercolor groups that I'm in on Facebook has weekly contests, and one of the contests was to paint a sunflower, since it was the national sunflower for Ukraine at the time that the whole dilemma with that country started. Really loved the way the paints performed, and this is actually Canson XL 140 pound cold press paper that I did this on. So the paints are real vibrant. They are really vibrant, and the more you layer, it seems like the brighter they get. I was so impressed with that. As you can see here, they actually mix well. Now, I did paper mixing here. I did not mix in the palette. I actually let the paints mix on the paper, and I really did not erase my sketch lines, if the truth be told, and you can barely see them at all in that painting. So that was really nice. Really nice. I really enjoy doing that. I'll show you. I haven't finished this one. This is another one that I'm working on, but it's a snow globe, and it's still in the works. But and it's just because I like painting with the paints. I really enjoyed it. I do have another one that I wanted to show you guys. I'm trying to remember where I put it. Okay, I knew I had it. I knew I had it. So other than the aloe vera and the sunflower, I did a landscape, because you guys know I'm working on those. And this was just a sunset silhouette painting of a lighthouse. And this was my first time painting on a block. This is Strathmore 400 series. Wonderful, wonderful paper. Wonderful paper. Now, someone told me that this would be the step, or what they would recommend as a step below arches. So I've never painted on arches. It's a little rich for my blood. I was gifted a pack of it, so I am going to try it out. But this is really nice. I was able to achieve some really nice texture in my mountain. I was able to mix a really nice neutral here from the burnt sienna, was it? Yeah, it was the burnt sienna and the ultramarine. I think it has a little oxide red in there. And you can see the separation in color. Really pretty. Really pretty. They dry down really nice and flat. There is a lot of texture in the sky thanks to the ultramarine blue. So I really enjoyed using these paints in each of the single paintings that I did. And I've worked on more than those. I just don't want to go digging for the rest of them. So I've been using the paints. I really, really have, because I enjoy them. And the only drawback that I've seen to them is that, you know, they crack. Now, it's rare for me to give a review, because I really like to give, you know, equal-sided reviews. It's rare for me to give a review where I don't have anything bad to say, or I have very little that's bad to say, because I tend to give, try to give an equal balance of pros and cons. But in this particular case, the only con that I can come up with is that the fact that the paints, you know, cracked when I tried to dry them down. And I mean, to prevent that, next time I can just add a little honey or a little glycerin to them to help prevent the cracking. But I'm definitely going to use this palette up, and I'm going to refill these colors. This is the palette that's actually now currently sitting out on my art disc that I grab as my go-to palette. And these are a kind of a bridge paint to me. And the reason I say that is because I don't know if I can necessarily call them professional, although they check off most of the boxes, with the exception of the fact that they crack, which lets me know that either, I don't know, the binder ratio is not right, or I don't think there's a lot of fillers in them because you don't see it. You just don't. So I'm really conflicted. I understand why they're called artist quality, but this cracking it throws me off completely. I don't know. I don't know. With that said, I mean, it's not a long review because I don't have anything bad to say. Would I recommend the paints? Hands down. Absolutely. Especially for the price. I ordered mine off of Amazon. I got them for $35.95. I do believe at the time there was like a 10% coupon that I used on them as well, which lowered that $35 cost. Of course, I got shipped because of my shipped to me really quickly because of my Amazon Prime membership. So for 24 colors in 15 milliliter tubes of what I would consider the closest thing I've ever seen to an artist paint without being an artist paint, simply because of that one factor, that's the cracking factor. I would almost call them artist quality. I really, really would. That is a really good price for such good paints. I am really kind of blown away. You can get them from the actual Artwell website for $32.95 if I'm not mistaken. And I'm going to be sure to link both those, the Amazon place you can source them and the Artwell site where you can source them in the video description. So just in case you're interested in getting them, you can. So for between 30 and 35 bucks, these are not a bad buy at all. I have spent about that much on much worse paints, much worse paints, and you can't go wrong with these guys. You just can't. So there you have that information. That's the Artwell Artist Watercolors 24 tube set. Now they do offer a pan set. I have not tried that set, so I can't tell you how it performed. And with a lot of the budget companies, it is, you know, kind of common that tubes are may be made in one factory, pans may be made in another. Now I don't know that for sure about this company. I'm kind of tempted to buy the pans, the half pans, just to test those out to see how they compare to the tubes and see if they're possibly made in the same factory. But you know, my art budget for this year is kind of tight, and I really don't want to buy the same paints again if they are truly just like these. But I really would love to try them out. They're actually in my cart on Amazon. We'll see. We'll see about that. But yes, I recommend the paints, especially for the price. You cannot go wrong with them. So if you want to add those to your art collection, hey, I say go for it. If you like any information that you heard in this video, if you found it helpful in any way at all, don't forget to give the video a thumbs up. Remember, that helps get it in front of more viewers, and that's going to help the channel grow along with sharing. Sharing is caring, and we all know that. Please use the comment section. Let me know, you know, do you guys have these paints? Have you used them? From what I've shown you, what do you think of them? I mean, seriously, if you've used these, please let me know what you think, because I want to know if you've enjoyed them as much as I have. Don't forget to subscribe. Please subscribe if you're a new viewer, and if you're new to the channel. Hit that bell so that you'll get a notification when I put up other content. Everyone can visit the Thrifty Apprentice Facebook page or Instagram page. On the Facebook page, you can post pictures of your artwork so we can all see it and enjoy it as well. And don't forget, as I tell you guys at the end of every single video, just keep painting.